Wasabi wallet. Unfairly private.
Whenever you're holding any meaningful amount of Bitcoin, you're going to want to secure that Bitcoin on a dedicated device like a hardware wallet. Now, there are many choices out there in the market, and one such entrance into the space is the Cobo Vault. So this is a hardware wallet for secure Bitcoin storage. It allows for air-gapped transactions, which means it never actually plugs into a computer or any internet-connected device. It has a dedicated app to interface with it, and it's also cross-compatible with a variety of popular Bitcoin wallets. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to use it, how it works, and my thoughts on it. So let's dive in. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions, and this is your daily session.
Hodl that Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, just want to give a shout out to sponsors of the show, LEDN.io. Now this is where you can use your Bitcoin for a variety of different services. I've been using these guys for well over a year now, and the first thing I ever used of theirs was their Bitcoin backed loans. This is where you can use your Bitcoin to secure a Canadian or US dollar loan. So in my instance, I was in a pinch, I needed dollars, but I didn't want to sell my Bitcoin for two reasons. Number one, it's a taxable event, and number two, I was worried I'd have to buy back at a higher price point. So I was able to deposit my Bitcoin, get a loan to my bank account within 24 hours, and when I paid that back, I got back all of my Bitcoin. Now they've got a couple other offerings. They've got their Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts, which have just bumped the interest rates up to 8.8% annually at the highest end of that. And they've also got their B2X offering. This enables you to use the same lending mechanism to instantly buy more Bitcoin, which effectively doubles your Bitcoin on the spot. So if you want to check them out, there is a link down in the show notes below. And if you use that link and opt to get a loan, they will actually give you $50 worth of Bitcoin for free. So do check them out. With that, let's dive into the show. Okay, so here I have the Cobo Vault. You can see touchscreen in front. In the back, you have your fingerprint scanner and camera. If I pull off the battery pack here just by pulling on the groove before, it is magnetic, and you can see it is AAA batteries, and then the SD card slot is right here underneath, right by the little connectors for the battery slot, and it just clicks on like so. And that is that. So let's boot this thing up and let's get started. All right, first things first, you're going to choose your language. Obviously for me, English is good. We'll hit next. Now at this point, it's going to give you a way to verify the actual device via their website. So it gives you a website to go to, and then you scan the QR code to authenticate the actual device. If this fails, then your device may have been compromised. You can skip this step, but just because we're actually going to go ahead and do this. So give me a moment while I pull it up on my computer. So I'm just going to hit scan QR code. And at this point, it gives me a code, which I'm going to type in on my computer here. And I get a screenshot, which I will include in the video here, that essentially tells me that the authentication has happened and the device is secure. So at this point, I can hit success and I can continue on. At this point, it's going to ask you for a password. It must have at least 10 characters and include upper and lowercase digits. So we're just gonna do something that for the purpose of this video will be easy and memorable, but I'm going to go ahead and go BTC Sessions with a 3 instead of an E. Okay, and we're going to agree and hit create vault. If we had a previous wallet that we had put together, then we would be hitting import vault, but that is not the case. We don't have a seed phrase or any backups or anything like that yet. Create. Now it says that you're going to be writing down your seed phrase. This is the backup to your wallet, and it is just as vulnerable as if somebody had this device in their hands. You do not want anybody getting this phrase. They give you a sheet of paper to write this down on. You would be well advised to keep this in a very secure location. They also recommend their Cobo Vault, their little steel, and this prevents loss from flooding and fire in many instances. So whatever your flavor, you're going to be writing down a series of 24 words, and you're going to be keeping them very safe, probably separately from your device, just to mitigate that risk of both of them being taken. So we'll hit next. Now, again, check your surroundings. Make sure nobody's gonna get a copy of these words, even if they take a picture of them, just as bad. So do not store these digitally, write them down, keep them offline, and hide them well. And here is my 24 words. I'm gonna quickly write these down, and we will come back when that is done. All right, this phrase is now written down on the paper beside me, and when I am done, I hit recovery phrase saved, and confirm. Again, it's the only way to retrieve my assets if I were to lose this device, so it's important that I've done it correctly. And when I move on to the next step, it's actually going to have me type in my 24-word phrase. Now, the thing about this is you only need to know the first 4 digits of any phrase word, and then it will autofill. So for instance, my first word was tank, and you can see starts, and I only had to type in the first 3 letters, and it autofills because there's no other possible words that could have been used here. So we'll just go through and enter all of those here. Okay, so I've put in all 24 words. I hit done. All right, now at this point it asks, what interface are you going to be using to interact with this device? It's important to know that the Cobo Vault is exactly what it is, what it says in the name. It's a vault, and that vault stores what is effectively the keys to your money. This device will not be used to watch your balance or do anything of the sort that involves connecting to the internet. It only holds your keys and allows you a window through which to approve and sign transactions. Now, they give you a number of different options. They give you the Cobo Vault app, which you would be using with your mobile phone, or you have the options of Electrum, Wasabi Wallet, Blue Wallet, and BTC Pay server. And by the time you watch this video, there may even be more options, which is an excellent thing to see. So we're going to go ahead and utilize the Cobo Vault app with this, but we'll touch on another one of these options later just to see the differences. So I confirm. All right, now at this point, we are going to pair with the app on our phone, which I will pull up, and we will see how to do this. Now, on the device here itself, we are looking at how we're going to go about actually interacting with that, and that's to display a QR code, which will be scanned by the app on my phone. So let's take a look at that app. So this app can be found on both app stores, and when you open it up for the first time, it gives you the option to bind. And all I have to do is, it tells me where to find it if I'm not currently on that screen. I have to accept and hit confirm. And at this point, it opens up my camera. And my camera is simply going to scan that QR code. And there we go. And so at this point, these 2 devices are now linked. Now, it's important to realize that, again, the Cobo Vault itself is not connected to the internet and has no way of knowing balances or anything of the sort. This app on my phone is my interface, so I can see my balance, I can interact with the vault, I can construct transactions, and only refer to this device in order to execute transactions themselves, okay? So we'll come back to the app in a second, but let's just really quick take a look at the vault one more time. So now that everything's done, I can see I've got Bitcoin receiving address. If I go to the top left, I get my menu of my vault, my settings, and just an about screen. In the settings, there's a variety of things. So if you want to switch from using the Vault app and go to one of the other options, those are here. You can change your password. The password is specifically just for getting into the device to utilize it. You also have the option for fingerprint, which I'm going to enable right now so that this video is nice and quick to utilize. Some may not like to do that, but for me, for right now, it looks all good. So it's going to ask for my password once. Okay, and now all I have to do is hit start, and I'm going to touch the fingerprint scanner multiple times on the back, much like you would with a mobile phone that has a fingerprint scanner. It just wants to get lots of versions. There we go. Okay, and I can hit done, and that looks all good. I can also add other fingerprints if I want to do that here. And you can say fingerprint can unlock your device, or it can sign transactions, or it can do both, and you can toggle them here. So nice and easy interaction for fingerprint. Other than that, you can have a pattern like Android pattern to unlock. You can import vaults or create a new vault. Now, the passphrase we'll get into later. There are other system settings here like brightness and language and screen timeout, all of that, security manual, and you can wipe your device here. A bunch of basic stuff that you may need to utilize, but for the most part, we're not going to dive into. And that is pretty much that. So let's go over and let's take a look at the app. So we only briefly looked at the app here, but basically what you get is you get total assets. Now this device does work with altcoins if you allow it to. I have upgraded to the firmware via their website and an SD card, which is what the SD card slot is mainly for, to the Bitcoin only firmware. So we don't need to see a total because we're going to see an overall balance anyways. When I go into Bitcoin, I get the basics. I get send and receive, and then I get a history of transactions, if there are any, a total amount in Bitcoin and in dollars. Now, when I go into the settings tab in the top left, again, you get your vault. You can have multiple different vaults. You can also have a Bitcoin wallet, a dedicated wallet in this app as well, which resides on your phone, not necessarily needed for myself. And if you go into settings, you can have a PIN unlock for the app. You can change your default currency. Right now, they only have US dollars and Chinese renminbi. I probably am butchering the way you say that, but anyways, besides the fact, CNY. Hopefully they'll add more there. I'd like to see Canadian dollars because that would be convenient for me. Yeah, and outside of that, pretty basic terms of service, privacy policy, and about. So send and receive is kind of what you need here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start actually utilizing this. Let's do some transactions. So receiving transactions is just like any other Bitcoin wallet. You're going to go down to the bottom in this case, and we're going to click on the receive button. At this point, you're presented with a QR code, which anybody with a mobile phone could scan. And you're presented with a Bitcoin address, which you can tap on or tap on the copy button. Either way, it will copy your Bitcoin address, which you can then text or message or whatever you need to do, email to get it to somebody so that they know where they're sending their money. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go out to a different wallet that I have on my phone. So we're going to open up Blue Wallet. And so Blue Wallet detects that I've already copied an address, but we'll just pretend that it didn't see that. And so we're going to send out a transaction. We're going to paste in the address it's going to. And you can always, I made a mental note of the last few digits, but you can always cross-verify the address with the one that you just copied just to make sure there's nothing malicious going on. And then you designate the amount that you'd like to go out. So I'm going to put 0.01 Bitcoin. You can designate your fee amount. Now I'm going to pay a bit of a hefty fee there. Right now the Bitcoin network is a tad congested while making this video, which makes me you know, slightly more expensive video to make, but that's okay. I'm doing it for the people. But let's move on here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit next. Okay, this much going to this address, fee, everything looks good. I'm going to hit send now, confirm, and off it goes. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to check back in with the Cobo Vault, the app, and we will see once we swipe down to refresh, we can see we're receiving a Bitcoin transaction for 0.01 Bitcoin. Now, please note that in the last screen, my other wallet, Blue Wallet, was set to Canadian dollars, whereas this is US dollars. So that's the discrepancy there that you see. But we'll wait for this to confirm, and then we'll see how to send out of transaction, which is quite unique to anything that is air-gapped, as we will learn what that means here. All right, now we can see that the transaction has confirmed. Down below it says a minute ago, and if we click on the transaction, we get a little bit more details of the bits and pieces that went into this transaction. If you're not familiar with how Bitcoin transactions work, do not worry, but for those more technically inclined, you can see all the UTXOs here, transaction ID, what block it was in, and a bunch of other things, and you can actually click to see it in the Blockchain Explorer if you prefer. But besides the fact, now that we've received this, why don't we try actually sending a transaction? And that's where things get interesting here. So as I said before, the vault, the Cobo Vault itself, this device is in no way, shape, or form meant to show your actual balance. It is merely the keys to your money. The interface is all here. This is how you interact with Bitcoin. So if I want to send a transaction, as I'm sure you gathered, I'm going to hit the send button down at the bottom. And at this point, I need to designate an address where we're going to send to. So I need to actually go into my other wallet and decide where it's going. So let's open Blue Wallet again. And I'm going to hit receive here. And again, we see pretty standard fare, a QR code somebody could scan, an address down below, and a way to copy it if I choose to. So I'm going to copy that address, head back over, and so I'm going to paste in the receiving address that I will be sending Bitcoin to. Now at this point, all we need to do is designate how much we're going to be sending and to where. So I'm going to basically send all of it. Now, there is not a send all button. I tried clicking on the actual amount here, and unfortunately that's not available. So you actually just have to manually type it in. Now the nice thing is Bitcoin fees, you pay a Bitcoin fee when you send a transaction typically. Well, this actually incorporates the fee into the available balance, so you can type in this entire balance and not have it say insufficient funds or anything like that. You can also adjust your fee down below by tapping, and you have the option of moving this slow and fast up and down. You also have the option of hitting advanced, and this allows you to manually type in your fee rates, so the Satoshis per byte. If you're not technical, if you're not familiar with how this works, then best bet is to take it off advanced. You can be relatively conservative with this, just go with whatever is suggested. If it's not time intensive, you can drop this further if you find it's more than you would like to pay. Okay, so I'm okay with how this looks. I need to still type in my amount here, so I'm just going to copy the exact amount there, 0. And that'll just kind of, it'll round if it's not going to work with fees wise. So that looks all good to me. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit send and confirm. Now, this is where we interact with the actual vault. So we turn on the vault. I can open the vault with my fingerprint. And at this point within the vault, what I need to do is there's a little square in the top right, and that opens up the camera. So I need to now scan the QR code on my phone. And what this does is it shows my vault the transaction I would like to send. And that is conveyed here, and it says, okay, so it says that you want to send this much Bitcoin to this address for this fee. Is that correct? And if so, will you sign this transaction? So we hit the sign button, and we confirm it with a fingerprint or a password depending on what you've set up. Okay, it says signing at this point. Okay, now at this point, we need to now, this is a completed and signed transaction. So if this gets broadcast onto the internet, to the Bitcoin network, then that transaction will actually be eventually approved. And so with the app on our phone, we need to scan the new QR code. Okay, and then it says, all right, are you ready to send this off? Once you say confirm, you can't reverse this choice. So you will be sending this much Bitcoin. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna confirm. Broadcast successful. And so I can now back out. We can see it has been sent. And if we pop over to Blue Wallet, and I close this out, just refresh, and we can see an incoming transaction right there. And as for the Cobo Vault itself, I can hit done, and it takes me back to my main screen. Now, just a couple things to note here. And one main thing I wanted to bring up is if I hit receive again within the app, or you can also receive, I should say, on the Cobo Vault, you can just tap and there's an address for you. This shows a singular address. It will default back to this same address. And any of you that are well informed when it comes to Bitcoin privacy know that address reuse is not ideal. Now you can create additional addresses. You can create more. You just go in, you hit add address, and you can name it and confirm. And now I've got a second address, okay? So that means that I can receive and decide which address I'd like it to go to. Now, I tend to prefer wallets that auto do this for you, and as soon as you receive Bitcoin to an address, it auto generates a new one, and by default won't accept Bitcoin to a previously used address unless you manually go and utilize that address. But at least they give you the option to add that. Now, what we're going to do now that we've sent and received is we're going to see how the interface here differs from how it interoperates with something like Blue Wallet itself. Okay, so we use the Cobo Vault with the dedicated app, but what I like to do at this point is I'd like to change that default from the Cobo app to Blue Wallet. That's one of my favorite mobile wallets at the moment. So I'm going to go into the menu, I'm going to go into settings, and at the very top it says watch only wallet, and it says Cobo Vault app, and I'm going to change that. I'm going to tap here, I'm going to go down, I'm going to click Blue Wallet and hit next. Now it gives you some handy instructions on how to do this, but essentially we need to go to Blue Wallet, choose import wallet, and then display QR code on this device. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up Blue Wallet. So you can see within Blue Wallet, you can have multiple different wallets. And so I'm going to hit add now, and then I'm not going to create a new wallet. I'm going to hit import wallet as they suggested on the Vault. And then it says scan or import file. And that's what it was talking about here on the Vault where it said display QR code. That's what I need to scan. So I'm going to hit scan or import, which will open up my camera. And hopefully it's scanned. There we go. Okay, and so it tells me now your wallet has been successfully imported. Now at this point, I have my Cobo Vault here on my actual Blue Wallet. I no longer need to utilize the dedicated app. And so what I see here now is actually a different address. If you'll notice, this address here starts with a BC1. My previous address started with a 3. This is actually more efficient in using the Bitcoin network as far as the size of transaction and the amount of fees that I will pay. So I really like that this is available to be used. So much like with the previous app, we can receive in the same fashion. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit receive while I'm sitting in my Cobo Vault on my Blue Wallet. This gives me my address here as well. Same as, let me verify that, yeah, same as the one on the actual vault. I'm gonna tap to copy. Then I'm actually gonna go out to my other Bitcoin wallet here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit send. I'm gonna paste in the address, or if somebody was sending to me directly, they could have scanned the previous QR code. And I'm gonna, again, 0.01 will send off, okay? We'll hit next. Okay, that looks all good to me, and I'm gonna hit send now and confirm. Okay, that is sent, hit done. And now we can head back over to the Cobo Vault that we were just looking at. And we'll drag down to refresh. And there we go, we can see an incoming transaction into the Cobo Vault, which is represented in my Blue wallet now with no need for the dedicated Cobo app if we choose not to use it. We'll just wait a minute for this to confirm, and then we'll practice sending back out. So with the transaction now confirmed, we can send it out. So all we need to do here is first, let's get a receiving address. So we'll send it back to the original wallet here. So again, QR code that could be scanned, but I will copy the address as before. We'll head back to the Cobo Vault wallet and we'll hit send. Okay, so the wallet is not being used in conjunction with a hardware wallet. Would you like to enable hardware wallet to use? Hit OK. And this allows us to now interact with the Cobo Vault as we would with the app that we used before. So I'm going to paste in the address. We will enter in a Bitcoin amount, which you can actually tap the amount here and use the full balance. As I said, I would like to have that feature, and hit next. And this gives an animated QR code so that it gives enough information to the wallet regarding the transaction. But again, much like the app, you basically scan and it gives the information to the Cobo Vault. So I scan and it scans both QR codes. And at this point it says, okay, look, you want to send this much Bitcoin to this address for this fee. And if you agree with that, then you're going to hit the sign button. Confirm with fingerprint or password, depending on how you have it set up. Okay, and it gives me a QR code. So now in Blue Wallet, I simply tap Scan Signed Transaction. And then it gives me an option if I want to send now, and I'm happy with that, send now. And we've now sent the transaction. I can hit done on the Cobo Vault, and back we go to the main screen. Perfect. So again, this will now be confirmed, and we will have access to this in the previous wallet. So I'll just refresh here and we can see incoming transaction right there. Nice and easy. Everything in and out of the Cobo Vault right there. And one little note to make. My receiving address here in Blue Wallet is now a new one. So before I was talking about how I like to have a new receiving address generated every single time. Well, this is the case if you're utilizing Blue Wallet. Makes it nice and simple. So kudos to Cobo for integrating with Blue Wallet. I very much enjoy that. Now, I just wanted to draw your attention to one last feature here, and that is the ability to add a passphrase or a 25th word to your seed, effectively creating an entirely new hidden wallet within the Cobo Vault. So the way you do that is you go to your menu, you go to settings, and you go to passphrase vault. And at this point, you're going to be prompted to enter your password that you set up previously. So we'll just enter that here. Okay, and at this point it's asking me to enter a passphrase here, and what it says is, please input a passphrase. Important information: when a hidden vault is created, its passphrase cannot be changed. If the passphrase is lost or forgotten, the hidden vault and all its assets will be irretrievable. Record and store the passphrase securely before creating a hidden vault. Number 2, keep the passphrase field blank to enter the default vault. So what this asks for is it asks you to enter a passphrase and confirm it. Upon doing so, you will create a hidden vault and enter into it, which you can then pair with your mobile device depending on what application you're using it for. So when you utilize this, you can have it hidden, and then to go back to the unhidden vault, the regular one, you simply enter this screen again, and you do not enter a passphrase or confirm it and leave it blank, and you will be bumped back into the default vault. So as long as you remember that passphrase, you can have all of your funds hidden, even though it doesn't show balance. Even if somebody were to access this device and attempt to get in, they would have no idea that another wallet even existed. Okay, so just another secure way to deal with this, but as it says, be wary, make sure you remember that passphrase or have it securely stored elsewhere so that you can recollect if you need it at a later date. And again, another wonderful feature to have here on the Cobo Vault. So now that we've gone through how to utilize the Cobo Vault, I wanted to just kind of encapsulate everything that we took a look at, go through some of my likes and some of the things I'd like to see implemented with it. So a few of the big awesome things that I'm really happy about. Number 1, they enable you to utilize the Bitcoin only software. And the reason I find that important is because when there's support for a lot of other altcoins, then you kind of open yourself up to more attack vectors by incorporating that said software. So very happy to see Bitcoin only enabled on this. Now the device itself is pretty solid, pretty sturdy. I quite enjoy that, and the haptic feedback, the little vibration that you feel every time you tap a button, I mean, I know it's aesthetic and it's not functional for any reason, but I really like it. So solid device, and the fingerprint is fantastic too. Now again, air-gapped transactions, excellent, and the ease of use, especially in utilizing the app in signing transactions, I found to be very easy to execute, so that is excellent. I enjoy that they have a secure element as well as the open source software. So they open source as much as they can. Of course, the secure element is closed source because that's just the nature of secure elements, but having both of those things in tandem does create a pretty secure environment, which is wonderful. Again, I was super excited as I discovered the interoperability of the Cobo Vault with some of my favorite wallets, like Blue Wallet, like we demonstrated, Wasabi Wallet on desktop, Electrum, BTC Pay Server, just to name a few, and I've heard that there's more coming down the pipeline. The Cobo Vault is also being integrated with some multi-signature solutions. This is where you have more than a single key required in order to move Bitcoin. So you might say, I have 3 keys and I need 2 of them minimum in order to move my Bitcoin somewhere. And then you store those in geographically different locations so that no one device can actually steal your Bitcoin if it were to be stolen from you. So they're already on Spectre, but I hear rumblings of work with multi-sig in Unchained Capital's Caravan and some other options as well as I believe Electrum multi-sig as well. So very excited to see that. Now, some of the detractors for me, and most of these actually have to do with the dedicated app on the phone, which if you bypass that and you utilize an external wallet at the time of recording this video, then most of those gripes that I may have are gone. Not to mention the fact that they can implement these easily into the app if and when they choose to do so, which I imagine they will as they get user feedback. So number 1 is the dedicated app defaults to SegWit addresses that start with 3. They're called wrapped SegWit addresses, whereas BEC32 addresses, which start with BC1, are a little bit more efficient and allow you to get lower fees. So to see that implemented would be excellent. The other thing is the manual addition of new addresses. So in a typical Bitcoin wallet, when you receive funds to an address, it will auto generate a new receiving address for you, so you don't really have to think about it. In the dedicated app here, that is not the case. But again, once you migrate to one of those external wallets, a third-party wallet, then that is no longer an issue. So again, something I'd like to see implemented in that dedicated app, but for me, not a deal breaker because I have the option of these other wallets. The fee estimator I found to be a bit high, but this fee estimators in most Bitcoin wallets can be hit or miss anyways. It would be nice to have like an easy manual override. They do have one in there, but just a direct one instead of having to hit advanced. I would really like to see a send all button in the app as well. And I will say at least that as it calculates your fee, your Bitcoin transaction fee, it incorporates that into the available balance, so you can at least type that out very easily. But a send all button would be great. And again, as we saw with Blue Wallet, if you're using an external wallet, that point is null and void. I'd also like to see coin control in the app. That's also not in Blue Wallet at the current time, but solutions like Electrum and Wasabi, it's exactly what you see. So again, these options are available in some way, shape, or form. I'd also like to see replaced by a fee, which allows you to bump your transaction fee if one gets stuck. Not available in the dedicated app at the moment, but depending on what external wallet you use, also available. The only other thing that I noticed, and this could have just been my device, but inside for the SD card slot, it was a little bit finicky. It took some playing around to actually get it to click into place. I actually had to use something to push it just a tiny bit further down so it actually click. But I've also heard of people not experiencing that. So it could just be the device that I've got, but I figured it was worth mentioning. So that pretty much sums it up. As you may have well noticed, every single thing other than the SD card slot that I mentioned more or less is solved by utilizing an optional third-party interface. And I hope that a lot of these points will be implemented in the app, which is easy to do as is. So all in all, I quite enjoyed this device, and I was through the roof once I realized the interoperability that we're seeing with this device. And I think this is the way things are going. I really like their approach to saying like, hey, we have an app, but also we want us to be able to work with every major excellent Bitcoin wallet out there. And it seems like that's what they're really going after. So kudos to the guys at Cobo. I think they've put out a really solid product with this Cobo Vault Pro is the one that I've got right here. Hey guys, post-recording, I just realized as I looked in the case that even my SD card gripe was unfounded, because they actually include a little tool to actually insert the card to make sure it goes down low enough and to then subsequently eject it. So it's just this little push, and in the absence of this, which I didn't realize it existed, dumb me, you could really use anything as long as you don't shove it down in there and actually screw with the internals. This does the trick excellently, so my apologies for that. So what did you think of the Cobo Vault in watching this video? Let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried it out? Have you tried out other hardware wallets? What were your favorites? What did you see about this that you liked, that you disliked, so on and so forth? As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do remember to hit like, subscribe, and share. Doing all of those things really helps the show. Also, be sure to find me on other platforms. I'm on Facebook Live, Twitter streaming live, I'm on DLive and Twitch, and just take a look around, you find me. Also, for my news videos, I'm on every single podcast platform your little heart desires, so be sure to search me out there to get your dose of daily Bitcoin news. If you want to help out the show in another way, you can always hit the sponsor in the link down below, or you can drop me a Bitcoin Lightning Network tip at my tippin.me page. That is tippin, tippin.me/@BTC sessions. And with that, I'm out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or a wonderful evening wherever you are, and I'll see you next time for your daily session.